Hello everybody, this is Karen from Sew and Save in Racine, Wisconsin, and I am here in my sewing studio at the Ponderosa, and we are working on the last block for our Sew What block of the month, and we have been working from Deb's Cats and Quilts Build a Quilt workbook. And today we are on block 12, which is on page 18. And this is what our beautiful block is going to look like. So let me tell you what you need to build this block. We're going to do kitty corner blocks in the corner. And then I'm going to show you how to strip piece these. They have you cut rectangles and cut 4 dark rectangles, 4 light rectangles, sew them together. We're going to strip piece it and then just cut it down to make it fast and easy. And then you'll just need your center square. So let's look at each individual piece as we go along. So you're going to need 4 background rectangles, and those are going to be the corners of your kitty corner blocks. So those will be your unit B for your kitty corner blocks. Then they want you to cut your 4 of these rectangles, and then you'll cut 4 of the light green, and my light green is this blue rectangle, but we're going to cut a strip, 2 strips, sew them together, and then cut them down. So in your special instructions in class, I gave you the size that you will need in order to have a strip long enough to cut all 4 of those pieces. So you're going to use that next. Then you're going to need 4 squares to be the A unit of your kitty corner block. And then you need your center square. And that's going to be obviously right in the center of your block. So gather, and you're also going to need equipment-wise, you'll need your kitty corner ruler, and I would say a 4.5-inch square ruler as well. So gather all that up, get everything cut, and we'll go over to the cutting mat, and I will show you how to start this block by putting together your kitty corner blocks. So see you back here in just a second. Well, ladies, you've done it. You've got all the way to block number 12. So on block number 12, we, of course, are going to start out with our kitty corner blocks. So I have my large squares folded in half diagonally and ready to cut into our unit A pieces, which look like the kite. So here's our dotted line for unit A. And we're going to put that right on the fold and trim. This will go in the scrap bin. So we're going to get all of these going right here. There we go. And 2 more. Can you do this in your sleep now? You've done a lot of them. We have done a lot of them this year. Now I'm going to open this up and lay them here on my design board. Okay, come on, open up. Here we go, and 1 more. There we go. Alrighty. Now we're going to take our rectangle background pieces, which are laying right sides together. I have 2 sets of them. I lay them right on top of one another. And I go to the unit B section of the ruler, line up my line here with the left-hand edge of my rectangle, making sure the little dog ear is matching up on top, and trim. Then I just flip this guy around, flip my ruler around to what says step 3, line that up with my little corner, and dog ear those corners. Super easy. There we go. Get that all out of the way. Then I'm going to line these up to sew. So I do my right sides first. The right edge, this is going to go on the other edge. This goes on the right edge. Line that up. I'm going to sew these on the 1/4 inch and press away from unit A, which is the kite in the center. So I'm going to go stitch all of these at 1/4 of an inch, press away, and come back and put the other side on. All right, so I have the right side of my unit B sewn onto unit A. The seams are pressed away from unit A toward unit B. And now we're going to add the left side of unit B and put that over there. We're going to sew these at 1/4 of an inch and again press away from the kite or unit A that's in the center. We're going to do that, then we're going to come out and trim them all down so they're perfect, perfect, perfect. So as you can see, I have my B units sewed onto my A units to create my kitty corner block. All my seams are pressed away from the center, and now I'm ready to trim them down to size. So now I'm going to flip my ruler over. I'm going to use the trim 1 edge, line up the little V in the corner with my point. As you can see, I have the points all facing away from me and the large part of the kite facing toward me. And then I'm going to get this diagonal line. Oops, I just moved it. I'm going to get the diagonal line to go right through the point on the wide part of my block. Okay. There we go. Sometimes it takes a second to get it just right, doesn't it? There we go. I'm going to get that. Yeah, there we go. Got it. All right, so let's get this one. Lining up through this point. Get that point lined up. And off we go. And then there's this one. It's just so nice that you can trim these down and make them look perfect, because otherwise mine would be all crooked and kittywampus. And that would not look good once we sewed them into the quilt. And one more up here. And then we'll be ready to turn it over and do the other side. This one doesn't have much to trim off. Okie dokie. Sometimes that just happens. That's why we trim them down to size. Because things move around sometimes when we sew, doesn't it? Alrighty, now we're going to line up the 4 on the ruler with the edge we just trimmed, so down here on the pointy side. And now we're going to trim off the wide side of our kite and make them just the size we need. So line that up there. Here. And one more here. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to set those aside and do our other block. Aren't those nice? So now what they had you do is cut some strips, but cut some rectangles, and sew like 4 sets of these rectangles together. What I did is I took strips, and I told you what size to cut those strips. I think mine are a little short. I was using up some scraps, so I might have to come back in and cut a little bit more. I think I'm going to have to in order to get all of them. But I'm just going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to press my seam open. So if you cut your strip as long as I told you to, you'll get this done in 1 strip. I'm going to grab some fabric and do a 2nd strip so that I know that I have enough. All right, so I have 2 strips cut so that I make sure that I have plenty to cut the rectangles that I need. If you have sewn together 2 strips the size that I told you, you're going to be just fine. But like I said, I'm starting to get to the end and running out of things. So we're going to cut a 4.5 inch length of this strip set. And of course, I realized I do not have my 4.5 inch ruler here. I probably have 2 at the store and none here, because I probably brought it to do a demonstration or to help some people in a class, so I had extra rulers for people if they needed them. and then forgot to bring it home with me. So I'm going to use my 5.5, but I'm going to line up my edge along the 4.5 inch and cut. And I actually need 4 of these. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. When I cut these, I make sure that like one of these black lines lines up right along my seam line, and this edge lines up with the 4.5. So I'm going to trim this at 4.5 right there. So there you go. Here are your little blocks all ready to go. And you know what? It is now already time to sew your block together. It was that simple. All right, we're going to start again with our center block. This is my center block. I'm going to add the little strip set block that I just sewed together. Check that out. And then, ta-da, I'm going to add my kitty corner blocks. So much fun. Like that, and that, and oops, flip it around. That's why I always lay this out so I get these orientated in the right direction. So the center I'm going to press out, the top and the bottom I will press in, and then these 2 seams I will press open when I'm finished. And then we will have block 12 all done, and it will be time to start assembling your quilt.